Hey, and welcome to the C3 weekly webinar training. I am going over day 3, and this could be day 4 for you, whatever day. This is after somebody's now signed on to care. This particular moment in time is really critical. And all the great clinics I've worked with and thousands that we've coached, this has been a very powerful process. Some of the most successful clinics in our profession, they are successful because of this day 3 process or this post sign up for care visit. So when we first created it, what we wanted to put in place was the fact that they've now been through whatever your reporting system is. So they came in, my neck hurts, can some chiropractor crack it? But through education, x-ray evaluation, they now realize what a subluxation is. They understand the process of correction and that this is a lifetime lifestyle. This is not just some treatment for a neck backache or strain. So you've been through all of that, and it's kind of a time to stop and say, listen, we want this to be a long-term relationship. We love you. We care about you. We want to take care of your family and the people you know. And we hope to be working together for a very, very long time. So just kind of a time to take a deep breath and establish that this is the relationship we're looking for. Now, from there, hopefully we've established some other things that are really critical to get this process going and off on the right foot. For most of us, we don't realize that a lot of what we're looking for in the future of this patient, we're looking for them to make appointments. We're looking for them to refer, to engage in the things that the practice does. A lot of this is established right at the beginning. And for many of you out there, you try to get this done later. Like, so at some point during their plan, we try to talk to them about referring, or at some point during the plan, we start talking about long-term care, or we try to get them engaged in helping us work with the community. We try to do that later, but where people start is where they finish. So if you've established with somebody, I keep using this word established over and over again, because that's the foundation. If we've got a foundation built on the truth and where we want this thing to go long term, then we've set ourselves up for success. If they've started under some sort of other pretense, then trying to change it later just doesn't work. It's just not how the human mind works. I know for me, if I started with you because you're going to fix something in a month, and somewhere down the line you go, by the way, that's actually not what this is. This was just the first month of the rest of your life. We also expect you to refer. We'd like to go speak at your office. You start dumping this stuff on me when I've committed to something else. I'm not going to like that. I may even stop trusting you, and your chance of pulling this off is really small. So let's talk about this day 3. So what I like to make sure they understand through the reporting process is that you are aware this is a mission. We are on a mission here. So we have to have what I call the mission-based close as we wrap up the actual report. So my mission-based close is always the same. I let them know that I've actually spoken at Columbine High School and at the Virginia Tech College after they had school shootings. And what we know about these school shootings, and which have also ended with the person who did the shooting committing suicide, is all of them were on antidepressant medication. And these medications have a black box warning saying they increase suicidality, which is a fancy way of saying it increases your chance of killing yourself, as well as the fact that if you look at the side effects, this aggressive behavior where you're hurting other people is also part of these drugs. And yet I can fill up our clinic from floor to ceiling with the amount of these drugs we've either prevented people from getting on or they've gotten off of once we've gotten them well. So I know that we can prevent things like suicides and school shootings and these kind of disasters with the work we do here. And I'll ask them, do you have kids? Or if I know they have kids, I'll say, I know you have kids. Well, I have kids, and I can't imagine my child being clinically depressed, because that would ruin my life, but also on a medication that may make them hurt themselves or somebody else. I couldn't sleep at night. If I heard a bump in the house, I'd leap out of bed and go sprinting into their bedroom if I knew this was going on. Yet this awful reality is happening in thousands of homes within just a 1 mile radius of where we stand. And we could save these people's lives. We could save those kids, their parents. We could save adults from this situation. We can save them, but I don't know everybody. I need your help. Will you help me? Will you help me reach these people? And we're looking for them to say is yes. And that falls into this congruency principle where people want to actually act in congruence with what they've agreed to. So now they're on board. And I tell them, and I pre-frame this important word, pre-frame. I pre-frame that when you come back tomorrow, we do a 2-day report. So this would be day 3. When you come back tomorrow, we're going to ask you about people you know that we can invite in to either be checked or bring them to one of our dinners. People really love them. It's a chance for them to learn about chiropractic and real health and meet us. That's the way a lot of people end up coming into our office. Okay, we'll do that tomorrow. Then we'll get into their plan. And just so you know, people are more likely to commit to your plan when they see you're on a mission. Just think about it. You walk into a doctor's office like yours, and then you find out that this clinic is on purpose and on a mission and trying to save the world. Are you more likely to trust them or somebody who just appears to be trying to close you into some plan where you pay them a lot of money? Obviously, you're going to trust the person who's on mission, who has a purpose, who cares about the community, isn't just thinking about themselves and their clinic. So I like to close about mission for that reason also, because I just know it gives us a better chance at starting off this patient. So that's the mission-based close. Something else I look to establish, I think I've said that 7 times, a foundation of understanding when I went through the report is that we've asked them, what is health? And we, of course, talk through the fact that it's not when you're feeling good, because people who have a heart attack are often feeling fine before the heart attack, and 2/3 of heart attacks end in deaths. So waiting until you're having a heart attack is a little late to be looking into it. You have to look into it beforehand. People that have cancer don't necessarily have symptoms throughout the process of developing cancer. And it's even the same thing with your spine. As it's degenerating, we know by looking at MRIs and studies that show that people have all kinds of bulging degenerative discs, but no symptoms associated with it. So while the spine's deteriorating, there's no symptoms there either. So using symptoms as a measuring stick for your health is an awful way to do it. It's the wrong way to do it. The only way to know whether you're healthy or not is to know how well you're functioning. So of course, we know that the medical definition of health is 100% function, not an absence of disease or infirmity. It's how are you functioning, and what controls all function and healing. That's the spine and nervous system. In fact, the only reason we care about these x-rays with your spine on them is because the nervous system is inside of them. If your nervous system was in your right elbow, I'd be x-raying your right elbow. I'm just trying to see how the nervous system is doing. So I work with your spine to get to the nervous system to allow you to be healthy, functioning, and healing and preventing disease. So we have to make sure they understand what is health, what controls all function and healing. And once they get that, it's the spine and the nervous system within that controls all function, health, and healing. I ask them, so what's the only way for you or your friends and family to know whether or not you're healthy? And I'm looking for them to say, to get an x-ray, to have analyzed the spine. That's the only way to know. And then we ask a very powerful question. Who doesn't deserve to know this? Who's out there taking these dangerous drugs? Who's out there thinking they're fine, but possibly about to have a heart attack or be diagnosed with cancer or be unable to function because their back has deteriorated so badly? Who doesn't deserve to know this? And we're going to need your help to reach them. And so we have to make sure that foundationally they know this, because this really leads us into that very powerful day 3. So to get to powerful day 3, again, we've established those points. We have our mission base closed. Now they're back the next day, and it's day 3. Some of the great chiropractors out there start right off and just, again, after making sure they, like I said, they know this is a long-term relationship we're looking for, want to really be helping you and your family. But also, as we talked about, what do people need to know whether or not they're healthy? And we're hoping that they remember and say an x-ray, something to establish a baseline for their spine and nervous system. We're hoping that they say that exactly. And like we mentioned, we need your help because we know that people are suffering by the thousands just within a mile or two of this office. We need your help. And we thank you that you said you'd agree to that. So what we'd like you to do is if you could just write down the names of people that you would like us to invite, either just to come in to get an x-ray, see whether or not they're healthy, or some of our clinics do dinners. They do several dinners, sometimes several a month, and sometimes once a month. But that's a great way to invite people in. It's free food. It's a fun night. They get to meet us and learn about true health, learn about real health. So attempting to get people to give us names for that. Great offices that do a very powerful day 3 like this will look to get 10 names just right there, which not only gets you the 10 names that just keeps perpetuating the practice and its growth, but right off the bat, use the word establish again. We've got a foundation of a person who understands this relationship. We care about you now and long term, but also we want to work together with you to be on mission to not just save your life, but transform healthcare in the world and save our town. That's the relationship we want. I have a saying, we only sell mission in our clinics. You are the mission. That's what we do. And it's incongruent if the patient's there off mission. They're just there off purpose, trying to get something fixed to feel better. I want to be congruent and make sure all of us are on purpose, on mission, working together the same way. Those of you that fear this, I've had doctors say, well, I can't do that until they get a result. That's awful. I've heard that before, and it's driven me crazy at times. That is not the life we're looking to live. We're looking to live our life on purpose and on mission, and have patients willing to do the same. Those of you that have the courage to do this right off the bat will build the practice of your dreams. You'll build this mission-based, perpetually growing practice with engaged patients that are with you for the right reason. Last thing I'll say is that this to wrap this up. We work for God and not for money. And so I have no fear that somehow the patient might say they're not going to do this because I have a mission. I know that God will support me in this entire communication because we're looking to make disciples of all nations. That's the Great Commission. Go out there and make disciples of all nations. Well, you're not a disciple if you're just simply somebody there getting yourself treated. That disciples are people that are on this Great Commission with us. They are looking to spread the word. And, that's health, Jesus, chiropractic. They're out there making the world a better place. And so what is it that you're building here? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Let's have the courage to do that right from the beginning and establish patients that you love taking care of, who love you and are behind your mission, who are following you up the mountain. We're no longer pushing people up the mountain. They're following us up the mountain to get to the promised land, which is their life saved. They're living their best life full out, but also we're changing the world together. And whatever business you'd be in, chiropractic, or you're selling widgets out there, a great patient, somebody who's a great customer, somebody who's getting the outcome they want, is directly tied to whether or not they're on your mission. Bless you guys. Go out there, save the world, fulfill the Great Commission, and remember who you are.